fading skies. Tattered flags waving dreams in our eyes. The crowds roar like a storm on the wind. We're the underdogs fighting again. I believe that we will win. Through the sweat and the fire within, we rise up when the skies grow dim. I believe that we will win. Mud on our boots, steel in our veins. Feel the heartbeat driving through the pain. Field of battle under shining lights. Every tackle about this fight. I believe that we will win. Push through the noise, drown out the din. No giving up, we dig right in. I believe that we will win. Out on the edge where the brave won't break. With every fall, we've got hearts that ache. But we're not done, we're just starting the run. This is the song to the iron in the sun. Shouts from the stands echo.
Hey guys, good evening. It is Monday night, and it is time for another edition of USMNT Yanks Abroad here on Stateside Footy. God damn it, man. I hope you guys had yourselves a great weekend. I know mine was incredibly short. Sometimes that shit happens when real life kind of gets in the way of your plans. But it is what it is. And of course, as we do every single Monday night here on Stateside Footy, man, we recap the European pool players for the U.S. men's national team. And of course, this weekend, it was a little different because a couple leagues are knee deep into their winter break. And so, for all those that were looking for some action for, in Germany, and of course, the Dutch Eredivisie, you guys absolutely got nothing coming because it is what it is. By the way, and my guy right here, Ace, who's always got my back, is chiming in with a Happy New Year. And yes, Happy New Year to you guys out there as well, too. I hope you guys had yourselves an unbelievable Christmas, but even more important, a great New Year and a great start to the new year. And of course, if you're anything like me, being a U.S. men's national team fan, and I've been a fan since essentially 88, 89, the fact that we're just a few short months away from the March window, and from that point, a few short months away from World Cup 2026, a World Cup that is on home soil. The last time I saw this, I was 12, 13 years old. So it has been an absolute long time since, the idea of seeing my national team playing on home soil. So this is absolutely a fun, just 2026 is just, I just can't fucking wait. All right. Before we get into it, make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons and also hit the notification bell so you don't miss out any upcoming Stateside Footy content. Tomorrow night, we are going to go over a few names that need to make the jump to Europe. There's going to be a few names domestically, but I also got a few names that are already over there that absolutely have to make a jump. That is tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Eastern time. So make sure you hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on that tomorrow. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. Because it's going to be a short list again tonight because, again, there are a few leagues that are knee-deep into their winter break. And so from that standpoint, I tried to dig deep. I got a few nice little honorable mentions this week, but we're going to start with strikers. And, of course, we start with our U.S. number one, Flo Balogun. They lost 3-1 to Olympic Lyon, although Balogun did play a full 90. Did manage an assist in this one on 2 shots, had 2 chances created. Looks like he had 33 touches, 5 in the opposition box, 9 to 15 of accurate passing, and that was pretty much it. That being said, again, it's also nice to see the number one get a goal contribution. And especially as this calendar has turned over to 2026. And now we're, I guess you could say, at the halfway mark of the European calendar. As we get closer to March, as we get closer to World Cup 2026, this dude absolutely has to be in form, and it looks like he is in form. The interesting thing about this, I actually had Flo Balogun as one of my guys leaving Monaco, making a jump up in the January window. There were some rumors out there linking him. I think it was mid-level Premier League and also Bundesliga as well too, and it kind of was a little bit intriguing because I actually think that he is peaked in French Ligue 1, and I actually think that I think he probably can move a step up. Maybe that's something that's going to happen in the summer. I don't necessarily think that's going to be a January move, but it was an interesting rumor nonetheless. By the way, I actually had Ballo rated out as a 7 this week. Not a bad performance from Ballo. Let's talk about my man in Norwich, Josh Sargent. Now, Josh, it was an interesting week because he played twice in a matter of 4 days, and we begin with his appearance against QPR. It was a 2-1 victory over Queen's Park Rangers, and he played 72 minutes in scoring a goal, managed 3 shots, 1 chance created on 24 touches. It's sad, it's only 24 touches, but it is what it is. 8 of 11 passes, accurate passing, which was good enough for a 7 rating. Then there was yesterday against Stoke City, and that team was absolute garbage. Norwich literally just had troubles. They seriously had trouble getting it past the halfway line. And by the way, Stoke is okay, not great, but it just goes to show you how far Norwich has fell on hard times this season. As a matter of fact, they're in the middle of a relegation scrap. Josh is going to be one of those guys that has to get out of Norwich in January. Listen, he made the mistake by not going back to the Bundesliga this offseason. There was a deal on the table with Wolfsburg. I understand why he didn't do it. He's married, and of course, he's got a kid. And so the idea of going to a different country, learning a new language, I'm sure Josh actually knows German, but obviously his wife probably doesn't. And the whole thing of uprooting your family in a place where you're comfortable, going to a different country, having to start over, I can understand why he didn't want to do that. And I'm sure he thought at the very least Norwich was going to be competitive, potentially being again in a promotion push. But that being said, they let two of their best players go over the summer without necessarily replacing them. What they have brought in is just not good enough. And so unfortunately, Josh is on an island. And if there is no link-up play, if there is no play off the wings, he's going to struggle. And he certainly has struggled this year after what was actually initially a good start. But that performance against Stoke wasn't really all that great. So it was good and bad for Josh over the last couple days. And hopefully Josh realizes that even if it means him going to another championship team, a team that is in a promotion push, I still think that would be better than him hanging around Norwich. He's actually a proven commodity in the championship, and he has actually been a good steward to Norwich. But that being said, he's got to do himself and his career a favor, and it's time to leave Norwich. All right, let's talk about Patrick Agyemang because it was interesting. A few weeks ago, Patty actually had a pretty good match against Birmingham City. Scored a goal, rated out pretty well, and then that was actually coming off the heels of a match against Sheffield Wednesday where he actually bagged 2, and it looked like maybe Agyemang was starting to find his feet, but then came a run of 3 where it progressively got worse. A 2-1 loss to Leicester, and then a 1-0 win against Middlesbrough where he was taken off in the 60th minute. And again, yesterday against Wrexham. The interesting thing was like the first 15, 20 minutes, he was absolutely killing it down the left-hand side. Wrexham actually really had no answer for him. But this is, I guess this is the brilliance of Phil Parkinson, because really outside of that, he was essentially marked out to the point where by halftime, it was obvious that he was not going to be a non-factor. He was given 15 minutes in the second half before ultimately pulled, and that was his game. Not a lot to write home about with Patrick Agyemang. And these are the things, right? It's going to be an ebb and flow. This is his first go round in the championship with a team like Derby County. Surprisingly, Derby County is actually having a pretty solid year. Now, originally he came in as the primary 9. It seems like over the last 6 weeks he's been switched to the left-hand side. Not exactly all that bad because he's actually pretty strong on his right foot, so his ability to cut in and score goals shouldn't be hampered moving to the left-hand side. But the last three go rounds in the championship have not exactly been great. But again, these are the things that are going to happen with Agyemang in the championship. It's a little bit better of a league than Major League Soccer. Defenses are a little bit better. And oh, by the way, let's go ahead and end this conversation right now that, Major League Soccer is a better league than the championship, and it's a complete false narrative. When you think about the top 12 teams in every single given year are on parachute payments because they've been relegated from the Premier League. And so from the fact that there's parachute payments and most of these clubs have a payroll that's $40 million better than the next tier down. And even that next tier still spends exponentially more than what Major League Soccer teams spend. And of course, because they have deeper squads, the idea that, Major League Soccer is on the same level, it seems to me a little bit of a false narrative, but it is what it is. Agyemang is going to have these ebbs and flows his first go round. All right, let's turn to Captain America, Christian Pulisic. And Pulisic had a pretty strong showing this last couple days. It starts with a 3-0 victory over Hellas Verona, where Pulisic played 76 minutes, scored a goal. It was on his one and only shot, 37 touches, 5 in the opposition box, 15 to 20 of accurate passes. 4 of those passes went into the final third, and it looked like he was 3 or 4 of aerial duels as well too. And he just gives you your quintessential Christian Pulisic performance. Then I think it was on January 2nd, AC Milan beat Cagliari, where Christian only featured for 11 minutes, and so it feels like there's a little bit of a stagnation with Christian Pulisic, not in his performances, but his appearances. And you wonder whether or not this is actually just a little bit of making sure that he continues to stay on the pitch versus just trying to run him into the ground, which is fine because as long as Christian is at least giving something close to a full 90 once a week, I'm pretty much good with this because he's still doing what Christian Pulisic is still expected to do, and that is essentially being the best player in Serie A, playing for easily probably one of the better teams. So from that standpoint, AC Milan picks up essentially 6 points in these two matches, and of course Christian plays a huge role in one of them. So it is what it is. And of course, the whole point of this is that Christian is going to be available for World Cup 2026, let alone the March camp. Obviously, if we're going to do what we think this team is capable of, this dude has to be available, and this dude is going to have to show up and put out on the biggest stages. And so if that means that, his appearances are staggered a little bit right now, no problem. All right, let's go ahead and talk about Wes, because Wes has been absolutely lights out ever since the coaching change there at Juve. He's essentially been a part of the starting 11. And over the weekend, they had a 1-1 draw versus Lecce, where McKinney had played 83 minutes, scoring a goal on 2 shots, had 3 chances created, 51 touches, 7 in the opposition box, 30 of 36 of accurate passes. And this dude, it's actually been a pleasure watching this because, as it just seems to happen every single year. There's a new coach, and all of a sudden he's got to prove himself again, yada, yada, yada. In the meantime, he's always been that steady Eddie for Juventus. And ever since that, he's now been put into the starting 11. He's taken that next step, and it almost feels like now he's kind of at that level where it was the Christian Pulisic when he first got to AC Milan type of situation where it's like there should be no doubt that not only is he a starter for Juventus, that he's a guy that you can actually rely on to bang in goals. And sure enough, he's been absolutely on fire, getting another one in this weekend. and I had him rated out as an 8 because that's how good he was. And from that standpoint, man, I don't think there's any doubt. I think it was the last World Cup roster prediction show I did. I had him on the bubble, and a lot of that was because he just hadn't appeared with the national team a lot. And at that stage, I think he was coming in for the first time since the Nations League. And so from that standpoint, it had nothing to do with his ability to score goals or his talent. Obviously, that's there. It was the fact that in 2025, he just didn't really have a lot of appearances with the national team. And so from that standpoint, you were probably wondering what between, the October, November camps all the way to the March camp, you were wondering whether or not this thing was going to take a step in the right direction. For McKennie, 100% it has. Whereas a guy like Gio Reyna, it's still kind of hit or miss. But again, McKennie's been absolutely fantastic. Turning to this guy right here, Brendan Aronson. And Aronson's been solid, man. Aronson, and the interesting thing is when Leeds gets promoted, you were kind of wondering whether or not they were going to kind of loan him out and he was going to be back in the championship. They took a flyer, and it took him a while to get his footing in the Premier League. That being said, Leeds drew 1-1 with Manchester United, and it's kind of interesting too that this was the game that ultimately got Ruben Amorim fired. But Brendan Aronson played 87 minutes. He scores a goal on 2 shots, 51 touches, 26 of 33 of accurate passes, 9 defensive contributions, 8 recoveries, 2 of 3 of aerial duels. This dude was money. And when you look at Aronson's last couple weeks, let's just pull this up real quick. He's been awesome, right? So December 6th against Liverpool, he has a massive, a massive assist in 25 minutes. A couple weeks later against Sunderland, gets another assist in a full 90. This week this last weekend, yesterday, as a matter of fact, against Manchester United, he scores the goal. So he is kind of stepping into a larger role, and it's nice to see. Not only can you rely on him as a starter, but also if you decide maybe the matchup might be a little bit better for him to come off, give you 25 minutes, he still has the ability to do something special, whether it's providing assists. The work rate is going to be there for Brendan. But then when you saw exactly the goal that he got yesterday against Manchester United, dude, it was unbelievable. It was absolutely unbelievable. And by the way, Brendan Aronson is 100% a lock, is a roster lock for me for the World Cup. These are the type of dudes that you absolutely want on your bench, guys that you absolutely can trust to come in that are going to hustle, that are going to play to the whistle, but also have the ability to do something special. Brendan Aronson is that type of guy. 100%. He's on my World Cup roster right now. All right, let's talk a little bit about Tanner Tessman because it's kind of been touch and go since he's coming back from injury. He did feature for 24 minutes in Lyon's 3-1 victory over Monaco. Not necessarily a lot to write home about his performance, but it's nice to see him because there was a point there where he was dealing with a couple knocks. He was able to get back. And now this just seems like that, as far as Tessman is concerned, now it's just kind of building back up to a full 90. By the time we hit March, he's going to be back in form and hitting full stride. And so from that standpoint, this is going to be a week-to-week basis for Tessman. But, it's nice to see him back out there and getting minutes because as soon as he is 100% back up to form, this dude always gives you lights out performances there in the French First Division. All right, let's talk about Aidan Morris. He had a game in Middlesbrough's 4-0 victory over Southampton. Aidan Morris played a full 90. He also had 2 shots on goal. By the way, none of those shots were really on target if you're watching, but he did have 93 touches in this match. 4 of those were the opposition box, 70 of 75 of accurate passing, which obviously was the most by anybody who got a full 90 in that match. 10 of those went into the final third. He had 3 tackles, 5 of 8 of ground duels, good for a 7.5 rating. And this is actually kind of huge because Aidan Morris has been kind of hit or miss over the last month. he'll he has that type of thing where it's like one game he gives you a very good performance or at least a consistent performance, but he follows it up with kind of a little bit of a letdown, and then it just seems good, not good, good, not good. And hopefully Aiden Morris is going to get back to where he was for the first couple months of the season, where every single match out, he's giving you essentially man of the match performances. So hopefully that is hopefully this is a spell of something good for Aiden Morris, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, let's turn to the wing backs now. And it's the return of Jedi, although he's been back for a while. So Fulham actually drew 2-2 with Liverpool. As a matter of fact, I think Fulham at one point was leading this match. And of course, what's interesting about this is if you listen to any English football fan, and especially when it actually comes to their club, and also left back support that's needed to improve, and the name Anthony Robinson comes up, the first thing that they'll say to you is that the dude's injury prone. It's like, well, not really. He's been actually quite durable over the last couple of years. Yes, he's coming back from a knee injury, but now all of a sudden he's playing full 90s. And ever since he's been back, he's been Fulham's best player. Not excluding this match against Liverpool, where he plays a full 90. He has 80 touches, 36 of 51 of accurate passes, 3 of 5 of accurate long balls, 6 defensive contributions, 11 recoveries, 3 of 5 of ground duels, and that's good for a 7.5 rating. Jedi, man, it's nice having him back. And of course, again, the Eredivisie was off, so there's not really much talk about Serginho Dest. But that being said, when you talk about this wingback situation for the United States, for the U.S. men's national team, the good thing about this is that you know that your security blanket is going to be around in March. Now, again, knock on wood, he doesn't get hurt, but he should be around in March. And so from that standpoint, we don't have to worry about Max Arfston. And as valiant of an effort as he gave over the course of 2025, there is a massive gap between Jedi and Max Arfston. So the point where you liked what you see from Arfston at times, but he's not nearly on that level. And one of the things that Jedi I absolutely love is not only does he get back up and down the pitch from that left side, but his ability to put balls into the box is something that is a very underrated quality. Now, granted, it's not your traditional crossing into the box. He prefers a low cross, but still, he's goddamn accurate with it as well, too. And it's completely changed the complexion of Fulham since he's come back. As a matter of fact, Raul Jimenez has actually greatly benefited from Anthony Robinson since he's been back. So from that standpoint, man, I'm just fired up because we're finally going to we're going to see what this team looks like at full strength. I think minus Tyler Adams, but you get what I'm saying. All right, let's talk about Timmy Weah real quick because Timmy did play in a 2-0 loss to Notts, where he played a full 90, managed 2 shots on 69 touches, 5 in the opposition box, 29 of 41 of accurate passes, 6 into the final third. And that was pretty much all that was written home about Tim Weah this last weekend. Not the greatest performance, but that being said, it's like, the entire back five of Marseille just didn't necessarily play well in this match. And, I gave him a 6.5 rating, which is good. It's not great. It's okay. But we know that Timmy can do better, and he has been better. This is just one of those performances, those League One performances. All right, let's turn our section to center backs now, and we have to talk about Mark McKenzie. His team, his Toulouse, lost 3-0 to Lens. He did play a full 90, had 52 touches, 23 of 31 of accurate passes, 4 into the final third, 8 defensive contributions, 2 of 3 in ground duels, and that was good for a 6.5 rating as well too. And again, just like Timmy Weah, that whole back line of Toulouse was just hot garbage. And I think they got one of the goals from his side as well too. So again, it's hard to like when you look at it, you're like, oh, okay, well that's pretty solid. But like when you watch it, you're like, oh, I get it. Austin Trusty. Interesting game because, of course, yesterday was the Old Firm, and Celtic got played off the park 3-1 to Rangers. It coincidentally was the match that Wilfred Nancy got sacked from. And of course, Nancy, I think, was in charge for 8 games, lost 6, and it's unfortunate. It is what it is. But Rangers absolutely battered Celtic. Austin Trusty had 90 minutes, a full 90, 71 touches, 56 of 65 of accurate passes, 11 defensive contributions, 6 recoveries, 3 of 5 from ground duels, and that was good enough for a 6 rating. When you are anchoring a back line that gives up sexy goals to 17-year-old wingers, that's not going to look necessarily good on the rating sheet. But I will say this, that Austin Trusty has been solid this season, and he has also been, he's also dealt with a couple knocks as well too. Overall, he actually hasn't had that terrible of a season. But I will say that right now Celtic is struggling, and it has nothing necessarily to do with Wilfred Nancy and the way that he wanted to play football. It has a lot to do with, when you really look at that roster and you break it down, there's just not a lot of quality. And so from that standpoint, when you're essentially trying to defend and not necessarily pushing the ball up, and you have a lot of shots coming at you, shit's going to happen. So from that standpoint, that's what we got this week. Not a lot of names this week, although honorable mention is Gianluca Busio from Venezia. He had himself yet another good performance, good enough that I need to give him an honorable mention. And the interesting thing about Busio is that he has literally became that team's leader, to the point where there is talk that Busio actually might be ready to make the jump out of Serie B. Since essentially November 2nd, in a 2-1 loss to Catanzaro, where he had a terrible game. He's had 2 goals since essentially November 8th, but he's every single match minus the cut match against Inter Milan on December 3rd. He is rated as a 7.5 or better. And when you look at his numbers, all of it looks good. The interesting thing was, I heard a rumor today, as a matter of fact, that there are 3 teams in France that are looking at Gianluca Busio. And Olympique Lyon happens to be one of them, which is not a surprise considering his former teammate plays there right now. But when you start looking at the skill set, and when you're starting looking at the market for midfielders, good box-to-box midfielders are kind of a commodity. And it's not just in England that teams are looking for it. They're looking for them in France. They're looking for them in Germany. I'll tell you what, man, Gianluca Busio might be a value buy for a lot of teams out there. So definitely keep your eye on that one, because Busio has been absolutely excellent. He's actually been Venezia's probably their best player this year. So we'll see how that one takes out. But that's going to do it for me, guys. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I wish I had more to lay on you. But again, man, a couple leagues are shut down for their winter break. And of course, they'll probably be in action this upcoming weekend. So a week from today, I'm sure we'll have our full breakdown, but not bad. A lot of good performances. Flo Balogun, Josh Sargent in the early portion heading into this last weekend. Obviously, Christian Pulisic, Weston McKennie. Those are the names that you actually absolutely want to see on the score sheet. Same thing with Brendan Aronson. So from that standpoint, man, the right names were able to cash in. And it's also nice to see Aiden Morris check in with a really good performance. And of course, Jedi as well too. Before I go, make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons, and also hit the notification bell, because tomorrow I am back with 5 domestic names that apply their trade in Major League Soccer that absolutely have to make the jump this January transfer window, as well as a few names that apply their trade overseas that absolutely need to make the jump this January to get out of their current situations before things potentially take a drastic turn for the worse. So definitely hit the like and subscribe buttons for that as well too, because that's going to be a banger of a show tomorrow. And of course, that's going to be at 7 o'clock Eastern. Until then, also to let you know that I'm also on social media, and of course on X at Stateside Footy, on Instagram at Stateside Footy 76, and of course I'm on TikTok as well with the exact same handle. So I'm everywhere. That I'm sure you guys are there as well too. So go ahead and follow me, and we'll talk ball, man. I love talking ball. So hopefully I'll see you there, but hopefully I'll see you here as well too tomorrow at 7 p.m. So that's going to be absolutely fun. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Monday night, because I know I'm about to go to bed, if I'm being personally honest. I'm up early tomorrow for work. So hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of your night more than I will. Until then, man, take care. Good night.
Rusted goalposts under fading skies.